I'm Bill Beardsley. I live in the house my mother was born in Ellsworth. We go to the church where my folks were married. My wife, Betsy, who's out on the campaign trail today, is the daughter of a Maine boat builder. I'm a fiscal and social conservative. I'm a Republican, have been my whole life. I believe in the platform, and I believe that Maine has an opportunity for prosperity. I've been president of Husson University for 23 years. When I got there, it was basically bankrupt. I signed every requisition over $5. I signed paychecks. I lived in the basement of a dorm, ordered the books for the library, and we've transformed Husson into a university with over 3,000 Maine students today, with doctoral programs in physical therapy, pharmacy. We did it without cost of tuition going up at more than 3.5% a year for 22 years. And we did all of that, including a large number of lower income students, with not one penny ever asked for in direct state appropriation. I want to bring that kind of transformation opportunity to the state of Maine. I believe I've been working for 23 years to prepare Maine youth for careers. I want to make sure those careers are in Maine. I believe in a balanced budget without smoke and mirrors. I've done that. And I believe very strongly in a policy where we can lower our energy costs, where we can have a smaller state footprint on our lives and our businesses. And I believe this is a Republican year. We've seen the tide move from Virginia to New Jersey to Massachusetts. We see it coming to Maine. Underlying that trend are candidates who are highly competent, but who really have stuck with conservative principles and platforms and have made that the foundation of their campaign. And then they've gone from there, and they have not ceded any ground to the Democrats. So let me talk about 3 or 4 areas that Democrats claim: environment, energy, education, and the economy. In environment, I have a PhD in forest resource management. I've led USAID workshops on sustainable forestry in the Russia Far East. I've operated windmills and done weatherization in Arctic Alaska. I understand the environmental challenges, but I also know where environmental activists with other agendas are taking advantage of our natural resources. If I'm governor, I will commit to a state of Maine which weds conservation and development. In the field of energy, I've been a vice president of Bangor Hydro. I've been the head of the Alaska's Division of Energy and Power Development. I've had the distinction of, in state government, both banning and subsidizing wood stoves in the same department, in the same towns, at the same time. I feel very strongly that our energy policy here is to ban everything that's economic. We have moratoriums on everything, but something like wind. I love wind. Look at what Norway does. They have wind, but they have onshore hydro. Look at Denmark. They have wind, but they have continental nuclear. Look at wind in the Midwest, and T. Boone Pickens is going to couple that with natural gas. We Republicans can connect the dots and get rid of these moratoriums and all of these things that are really hurting the cost of energy, which has risen from 9% above the national average to 59% above the national average today. As a candidate, that is a very critical area to deal with. In education, just briefly, I've been a president of a Maine university for 23 years. My wife's a Maine principal and teacher. I've been head of the Maine Higher Education Council. And I believe in accountability. We've got to hold our schools accountable. But we don't have to have this myriad of Maine learning results and assessment models and all of this stuff where we're now hiring part-time teachers to teach so that our full-time teachers can spend hours and days a week outside of the classroom working on regulations. We can be accountable by simplifying that and reduce our costs. In terms of the economy, as head of the Division of Finance and Economics for the state of Alaska, I was involved in benefit cost analysis for public and private sector activities. Here in Maine, I've chaired the Maine Development Foundation and the Finance Authority of Maine. At Husson, we started our budget by finding out what low-income students in Maine could afford, and we priced our tuition there, and that drove our budget. We need to do exactly the same thing. What can the taxpayers of Maine afford? And that should drive our budget. And we have regulatory relief, we have fiscal relief. There's no reason, with the vast forest supplies that we have, that we can't. We've got the biggest forest reserves east of the Mississippi. We've got 32,000 square miles of land that are as big as Ireland. It's half of New England. We've got seaports that are half day closer to Rotterdam and London than are the ports of Baltimore and New York. That's the kind of thing, hands-on knowledge, conservative principles that I want to bring to this campaign. I really love the other candidates that are running with us. I mean, I think we've got a great pool of candidates. Why me? Because I am that conservative, because I've been a CEO for 23 years, because I have a vision for tomorrow. And I just really appreciate this opportunity to be here, to be campaigning around the state, and I certainly will be fully supportive of and hope to be on the ticket come November. Thank you very much.